Cassar. Welcome back to another exciting episode of the Justice Plan podcast show. The last one, in fact, of this season. So thank you for staying around for all of our episodes. And you're in for a treat for our final one of season 4, the place where we bring you the best tips, tricks, and stories from the world of weddings. Now, I'm your host, Nathan Cassar. And today we're kicking off the end of this season with a true innovator in the entertainment space. Dean Lewkovitz, also known as DJ Lewko from 2 Life Entertainment. Now, let me tell you about this fine gentleman. He is an absolute powerhouse. Dean is no stranger to the world of high energy, unforgettable events. With years of experience under his belt, he's been the go-to DJ and entertainer for countless weddings, corporate events, and Jewish celebrations. Known for his sharp wit, innovative approach, and a flair for crowd engagement, Dean's passion lies in bringing the energy of nightlife to weddings, ensuring that each event has more than just a soundtrack, but a fully immersive experience. Now, whether he's playing the latest hits or spinning classics, Dean and his team of talented DJs specialize in bringing a dynamic, high-level entertainment solution to every single event. But it's not just about the music, though. It's about crafting moments that guests won't stop talking about. Dean has been in the game since the age of 11. And his dedication to creating amazing experiences has earned him a stellar reputation in the industry. Today, we're going to be diving deep into the world of entertainment and what it takes, I should say, to make an event unforgettable. We'll explore the art of combining a high-energy DJ style with polished presentation, the importance of crowd work, and why having a team that understands your unique needs can truly make or break your event. Plus, we'll discuss Dean's extensive experience in Jewish weddings and events and how he's able to bring the traditions of his community to life with a modern twist. So if you're ready to elevate your event's entertainment and hear from one of the best in the biz, let's get right into it. Dean, welcome to the show. How are you?
Nathan, I'm doing great. I'm going to have to steal that intro. You made me sound way cooler than I really am.
No, well, you know me. I don't know if people have been listening to the season. I do enjoy my intros, but more importantly, no, you deserve every accolade of that, my friend. It's
Thank you, I
you
appreciate
definitely. I know that we had the pleasure of meeting last year officially at the DJ Beat Mix conference, and which is actually, as of this recording, only around the corner actually. So you and I will be meeting in person once again. But I've since having come to know you, I've really enjoyed the fact that you have started a craft pretty much almost around the same time that I started my public speaking craft, in fact. And I think that that is a really unique distinction and a real credit to you in the sense that you have forged a creative pathway for yourself so young. I mean, at the age of like 11, most people are like, I want to be a firefighter, I want to be a policeman. You're like, I want to do the DJ thing. And so I love that you've had this passion for so long. Like, what really is it about this industry that hooked you at such a young age? And how's your approach to entertainment evolved over the years? Obviously, particularly, as you've also matured as well.
Yeah, so I mean, I've always had that sort of performance flair. I've played the trumpet for 10 years. One of my first hobbies was of the more obscure variety. I got into juggling. That was around the age of 8 or 9. But, my 11th birthday, I got a little set of DJ decks, and my parents thought, let's give this a go. This seems up his alley. I actually started a few months earlier with just an iPad app and got into that, and then moved to a bigger DJ controller, and I was just hooked. 11, 12 years old, just messing around my room. This was also sort of right before COVID came in, so around that 2019 mark. And it just sort of brought together my nerdy love of technology, love of music, and then later I've really found my home on the stage in performance. But then also behind that I've always sort of had a bit of a drive for business. I'm starting a degree in business next year, and being able to combine those things at the intersection with what has now become To Live Entertainment, a DJ company across Sydney, it's just kept me going, and I'm absolutely hooked.
No, it's fantastic. And I mean, you've sort of, I know that you have not only built something that you've personally felt, aspirational towards, but you've also, carried that sort of that torch and stewardship to the greater DJ industry by coming along to the conference every single year since, what was the age of 15 you've been
I think
going?
so. It would have been
Yeah.
2021.
Yeah. And so like I think that is a real credit to you in the sense that as a unique sort of like with those listening, sort of this unique positioning where you have really genuinely wanted to do this for a long, long time. And now you're only just, truly at the beginning of the next stage of your journey, which is,
Mm.
moving into adulthood, figuring out what it's like to be a part of like a big brand. And of course,
Paying
mostly
taxes,
discovering, sorry?
paying
Oh,
taxes.
painter. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Mm.
Every quarter is the bane of my existence, that's for sure. But certainly, like it is definitely a real credit to you that you are, you're at this real sort of turning point in your life where you're about to go on this incredible journey of creativity and finding yourself on stage. And you've already, become known for blending high energy nightlife DJing with the crowd engagement and polished presentation of the events
Mm.
and so forth. So you've really already begun to establish something that people can attribute to your style. How do you strike the perfect balance between playing music and creating that sort of unforgettable atmosphere?
Um, it's almost hard to describe because a really good DJ, it becomes second nature. So I've been able to walk into a room, look at a dance floor before the music even starts, and I can already kind of tell, oh, this group over there probably gonna like this music. I have a feeling that group over there might like this. We'll give it a go. We'll see. And that also works really well into how I play events, how I play weddings. So for instance,
Mm,
that open doors, that dinner playlist where you don't really think much goes into it, right? Often the DJ in the background will actually be playing live, and what will happen? I'll play an R&B track, let's say, and I'll look around and go, okay, that table and that table they like that, that table doesn't like that, and that actually helps me shape that
mm.
musical soundtrack for later in the event, and it just helps me personalize that experience even further to the crowd on the floor.
Yeah, that's really clever actually. Not a lot of DJs have ever mentioned that to me that I mean that they're sort of beginning to scout and research, before, using those moments where most people are not probably actively showing that they're involved in the music, but yet those
Yeah.
subconscious cues and those more subtle moments of singing along or whatever maybe or bopping along is it then therefore in informing you of your greater macro choices of how you're going to blend the music later on in the day. And then that's definitely a skill and something that not a lot of people talk about. I mean, I can equate that to my MC work in the sense that I'm mixing and mingling during pre-reception hours and I'm getting to know people well before I get officially on stage. And so it's definitely the same kind of thing. You're finding out your crowd before things get going. So I
Mm.
can really genuinely respect that and appreciate that. I think the beyond that then, is when you're crafting those sort of pre-reception experiences and and also dinner time stuff like that, is there a responsibility on your part to maintain the appropriate levels of energy throughout that experience? Well, because it's really easy to obviously play your favorite hits, but at the
Mm.
same time, if people want to eat dinner, they want to eat dinner. But sort of how do you sort of maintain the energy along the way so that you're not peaking before you get to the dance floor?
For sure. I mean, it's a real fine balance. It's about striking that sort of midpoint between playing the songs that maybe the bride and groom actually want to hear but won't fit dancing later. So that's often where we will stick them in. Um, Playing songs that fit the crowd, not getting people too overexcited, but not having people get too bored. Because if you have a bored crowd during dinner, that translates to the rest of the event and can put a
Yeah.
damper on the energy. And it's all about maintaining that excitement, that feeling for weddings, that sense of love and camaraderie in the room, and just using music to sculpt that throughout the whole evening.
Yeah, and you touched on something just then before about playing the songs that are hard to insert into the dance floor, but that the couple still wants you to play
Mm.
them. And so I've had this conversation a lot with DJs, and I think it's a bit of not an unspoken conversation, but certainly one that I think some DJs will talk about it vendor to vendor, but yet it doesn't get sort of broadcast out there. This
Yeah.
uncomfortability sometimes, and this professional conflict we have over, yes, we've asked you to craft your day. It's bespoke. It's tailored. Give us the songs that you like, etc. But then there are many, many couples out there that then sort of take that to the extreme, where they're saying, right, we want exactly this playlist in this order, etc. And as you and I both know, that's just not like 99% of the time. It's not a
Mm.
golden playlist. It's not
For sure.
feasible. But yet that pressure still exists to quote unquote give everything that they want. How do you personally navigate that? And a bigger question than that, what kind of advice would you give to people listening to sort of I'm going to just be bold and say, stray them away from doing that.
Of course. So, I mean, it's about firstly managing expectations. Beyond that, it's about, building that structure before the event even starts, which, translates to how a DJ and how your vendors operate day of. So, I will meet with all my clients and I'll tell them, what you have to do, you have to trust me with the soundtrack. Now, I'll take as many playlists as you want to give to me. Can't guarantee everything will get played. What I can guarantee is stuff that you say do not play, that will never make it on. That is a guarantee
Sure.
myself. You'll never hear that. But
Mm.
everything beyond that, when you book a DJ, it's more than just the guy with speakers and lights as it was 20 years ago. Very often, you'll build a personal connection with with your vendor beforehand, and part of that in my process is establishing that level of trust and that level of Dean knows what he's doing. We're going to just let him do his thing, and he's going to absolutely rock our event.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the general key. It's like, if you're going to bring someone into the mix, any vendor, realistically, as much as I respect that there is you're placing a lot, you're handing your keys to the kingdom and, this most special day to someone else. But I think that really is the trust that needs to be built. And it's great to hear that obviously you foster that relationship. It's not just, oh, you pay me money, I must be trusted. Like money exchange is one thing. Obviously building rapport is a completely other level on top. And so definitely, I think the greatest advice I can take away from that is essentially, don't just expect that money alone is going to forge that relationship. Expect to have a relationship that is obviously professional, but one that does build social rapport between you and your vendors, particularly people like yourself and I who are managing the energy and the tone of the evening. And and don't hold DJs to playlists that perhaps are a bit tricky, because I've certainly seen it work out where the song list is king and no one's on the dance floor. And the worst part is I've seen people come over and say, it's your fault. And you're like, it was what they wanted. Like, what can I do? I've been held. Yeah, exactly. But it's a very lose-lose. So I think don't put your DJ in that position. Don't put him in that spot.
It's
Now,
also kind of a predicament.
oh, of course, absolutely. It's sad. I hate seeing it, but yeah, if we can do anything on this small little platform, don't do it, people. Please don't do it. Now, Dean, you have worked a lot with the Jewish events and wedding scene, which is a fantastic niche that, in fact, I would argue probably 95% of the people listening right now, I mean, sure, could imagine that Jewish weddings and events take place in Australia, just like any other culture, but certainly don't realize actually how thriving and how common these kind of events take place. So what are some of the unique aspects of DJing at Jewish weddings, which I've had the pleasure of being a part of a couple of there. The first time I ever saw a horror dance breakout, I thought I was at some sort of Metallica concert. It was brilliant. But sort of how do you ensure that traditions are respected while still keeping the energy high?
Yeah, I mean, as you said, the horror is quite a culture shock. It's a lot of fun, but it's very unique.
It was intense. I'm not gonna lie, it was great. It was so good though.
Especially when they start getting thrown in the air. It's a good time. The Jewish weddings, there's no one right answer, because very often it's a spectrum. You have your more religious, your more cultural leaning events, and something that can happen there. You might have separation of a dance floor, so men on one side, women on the other. Might have certain musical restrictions to obey certain laws and traditions. But on the other end, you have weddings that are effectively the same as a normal wedding. They just happen to have a few extra things. So, like wedding ceremony, there's a great tradition where you have to smash the glass, and then during the reception, as you said, the horror, which is a somewhat traditional dance, often involves a lot of running in circles. People get thrown up in the air on chairs. You get you toss the groom around. Everyone gets nice and sweaty, and it's actually a really great way to open the function, because most events don't have dancing right as you come in. Jewish events, that's right at the start, and it sets that bar of how we want the rest of the party to be.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it definitely does. It was it definitely was great for me too, because obviously like that I'm like, okay, great, I can use that clear energy that's been just thrusted into the room like no tomorrow. But also obviously, of course, it was very much as you described, the kind of wedding where they had some light sort of throws to tradition, but yet not as strict. But certainly, what would you say is, compared to some of the other weddings that you do, because I know that you're very much embedded within the scene, what are sort of some of the hallmark differences, I guess, in terms of, I guess, just as at a level of curiosity for people thinking, oh, I didn't know that there was a lot of events that took place in the Jewish community in Australia. Like, what's sort of like, what's one of the best kind of lens inside the world that you could give us?
Um, I you know, it's a tricky question to answer. We do, my company, we've got 8 DJs, and then we also work very closely with some other vendors in the Jewish community, and we just work in every type of event under the sun, especially in that Jewish world. And you got the bar and bat mitzvahs, which are more of a kid friendly event, but specifically to Jewish weddings, there is so much crossover with I want to say normal weddings, but is any wedding normal really?
What's a normal wedding these days? Yeah.
Just in terms of Jewish brides will still see the same social media as non-Jewish brides. Jewish grooms will still deal with the same headaches as non-Jewish grooms. There's not a huge amount of difference, except maybe the food is kosher and they serve brisket instead of lamb.
I love it. No, I love it. It's
Yeah.
a fantastic way to put it. No, it's fantastic, and I think it's I've always because I do so many different types of, as I'm
Mm.
sure you do as well. My platform is very multicultural. Like, there's not really any culture in the world I would ever say no to, and in fact, I embrace that as part of the kind of community we live in these days.
Yeah.
And I think this beautiful blending of sort of modern Western slash whatever insert culture, etc., it's there's, as you say, there's not a whole lot of differences, but there is just that little bit extra spice that makes it like just a little bit more, like a little bit unique, a little bit sort of
Mm.
attributed to a community that can make everyone really come together. But it's nice that people there's no like, oh wow, that's really strange. Like, there's nothing like that, and I think that's a really good takeaway there. Now, I know with the company you're a part of, Two Life Entertainment, you're sort of at a massive crossroads at the moment. You guys have really begun to ramp things up
Mm.
and really show the world about what your point of difference is. You focus on providing full entertainment experiences rather than just playing music. Now,
Exactly.
that can sound like a tagline, and so it's easy for people to sort of get carried away with it, just being a marketing thing. But I would really love to, because I know that I know you, and I know that you mean that exactly when you say that.
Mm.
Can you share some of the innovative ideas and unique selling points you've brought to the table to make Two Life's Entertainment's events stand out and keep your guests engaged?
Yeah, absolutely. So what we've been pushing to build is a company where and it's a tagline that I've sort of come up with, but it's small company dedication with large company results. And what that means
Hmm.
is all of our DJs, they're hand selected. So certain agencies they'll just have an email list of DJs. Are you available on this date? Yes, no, yes, no. Great. Here's your options. Here you go. All of our DJs, we work very closely with them. Most of them work exclusively with our company. We've got a few more training now. And a lot of us, we have that musical background, but we also have that entertainment and performance background.
Hmm.
One of our DJs is also a professional singer.
Hmm.
One is a professional percussionist. One of our DJs, he's been playing for about 30 years. I think he's got in excess of 1,000 weddings under his belt
Wow.
in that time. So just that level of expertise to be able to deliver that gold star musical experience.
Hmm.
Now, when you say entertainment, sometimes that means getting on the mic and hyping up the crowd, but not always. It doesn't always have to be the cheesy radio host. But the difference,
In fact, please don't. Like, I think I find that like that kind of style is definitely going by the wayside, I think.
yeah, for sure. But in saying that, there are some couples who want exactly that. But it's about having the expertise and the
Yeah.
trust in your DJ to know the difference, and that's what we strive to deliver.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I've also encouraged a lot, and particularly in masterclasses and other, even at the Beat Mix conference last year that I was at. I'm speaking to industry experts. The biggest thing I can tell DJs in particular, as people that I work alongside with, is it is okay not to be at your booth 100% of the time.
Mm.
And so, do you find opportunities to get away a little bit and to immerse yourself into the crowd? And is that kind of something that you hope your DJs do, particularly the ones, as you say, who are the singers and the percussionists and
Yeah.
have these sort of multi-talented skills? Is that something that you are trying to attract and also project with the DJs that you host?
Look, my personal performance style doesn't necessarily involve me getting onto the dance floor. Some of our DJs totally can. One of our DJs who is a singer, yeah, she absolutely will just go for a walk and get surrounded by people, and that can, I mean, it creates amazing photos, but just creates amazing memories. If you have a drummer in the middle, what we offer is, that live fusion experience. So we
Mm.
have trumpet players, we have sax players, we have drummers, we have singers, any instrument under the sun, you name it, we've probably worked with them. And that just adds that, that hybrid element, which brings that energy up just that little bit further. And they'll often come out and, become a part of the dance floor, and it creates that immersive experience, which so many couples are going for these days, more than just a show.
Very true, very true. I'm very consistently working a lot more with a violinist or a percussionist or a saxophonist or
Yeah.
a violinist. There's definitely much more that sort of duo act approach where there is that little extra bit of spice that brings people out to the floor as opposed to just purely a DJ playing. And so, yeah, 100%. It's great that you as a company focusing on trying to encourage couples in that direction, because it really embraces what
Yeah,
people are wanting these days, which is, just we don't want vanilla. Like, we want our money to go further, and we don't want vanilla. And I think
for
that's
sure.
fantastic. With your sort of extensive wedding industry experience that you have, what advice would you be able to give, and speaking directly to those listening, when choosing their entertainment, and like what should they look for in a DJ to make sure that their wedding is the best that they could possibly wish for?
Well, I would suggest you go with me. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, no,
What
no,
I
that's
would
a good reason.
look, what it comes down to is find someone who matches you. You know,
Mm,
if
mm.
if you're that, laid back, just wants to really enjoy the vibe of the day, there will be a DJ out there for that. If you want to have that crazy, party that matches that nightclub or that music festival, there's a DJ out there for that. But put in the time to learn your entertainment, to learn your entertainers, to learn your event professionals, so you know exactly what you're going into and you know exactly who is the right person and the right team for you.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. And I think it goes back to what you're saying before about making sure that, as part of your customer journey with your clients, you promise that you'll be meeting with them. There is a intent right at the beginning of the booking process to say, if you go with me, it's not just pay and I'll talk to you like 1 week out so I can grab your music choices, and I'll show up half an hour beforehand, bump in the most craziest margin possible, and then leave as soon as I can. Like,
Oh yeah,
you're promoting this idea that it is a genuine experience between you and the couple, that there's a dialogue that gets created from day zero. And above anything else, if there's anything that you can do to continue to enhance that, it's like a yes and approach. Oh, we'd like to have someone on the floor. Great. Well, we've got someone that can do that. Oh,
for
we'd
sure.
like you to do a custom mix of something. Absolutely, we can do that. And I think that yes and approach is definitely what couples are looking for. So it's great to hear that To Life Entertainment and yourself, of course, is someone who's is holding that torch. It's absolutely fantastic
Yeah,
to see.
absolutely.
So,
I mean,
mate, we are running out of time. I do apologize, and I hate getting to this part of the show because I love the people that I get to work with, and most importantly, I'd love to be able to continue to allow for all the good things to come through. But I've got a couple of last minute questions for you, and then I'd love to help people find out exactly how they can book your fantastic DJs, or perhaps yourself, of course. So
let's do
the
it.
one of the questions I have for you is, what are some of the biggest trends that you're seeing now that we're halfway through the year? What are some of the things that you're beginning to see as a trend that perhaps wasn't around last year or the last couple of years?
Yeah. So I think a lot of weddings are now pushing to have an earlier dance set. What I've noticed, that culture has sort of come
Mm,
across a lot from America. I personally think that's really great, because what you'll find is, your guests who have probably just spent, half an hour to an hour, maybe even more, sitting outside, sitting in a different space for the ceremony. That's great, but we want to
mm,
get them up. They might have also spent on top of that, an hour or so having little nibbles and cocktails, and they're feeling that energy, they're feeling ready to go, and then they walk into the reception and sit right down for dinner. So having that early dance set of, 15, 20 minutes can be a really great way if you want to have that party atmosphere, to sort of bring that into the room and set that bar. I think
mm,
that's a really great trend. The other one we've been noticing is couples who actually are becoming more hands off. I think especially as the economy changes post COVID, people are more careful with their dollars and cents, and it means that the decision that they're making to hire that DJ, to hire that venue, to hire that MC, right, are a lot more intentional. It's no longer because, oh, well, we need an MC, we're going to get an MC. No, we want an MC. We want someone who's going to be there to do the job. So, we trust them, we know they're going to do great, and we really hope that they will do as such, and we're just going to let them do their thing.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. Actually, I've not had anyone say that yet, but that's definitely in line with how I've seen things lately. So, and you're not wrong about the early dance floors too. I mean, I've got coming up, I'm working about 6 or 7 or 8 weddings in advance right now, and for the busy season coming, and I think about 3 of them at least are insisting on a quick open dance floor after entry before we sit down, and I'm absolutely there for it. I mean, to be able to give it, to have a vehicle where I don't necessarily have to drag all this energy up from nowhere. I can just say, guys, here we go. I'm going to give you this entry, and then boom, let's play a couple of songs to really set the tone. Makes our jobs easier, and you're 100% right. It just gets the blood flowing and the energy pumping with your guests who have been sort of a bit more in sort of somewhat hibernation mode, just waiting for the thing to start. So no, it's great to see, and you're 100% on the money. Last question for you. Look, you've told me, how you got into this, but why? Why do you get up every day and do what you do?
Wow, that's a really deep question.
I know this is the kind of podcast, we go deep,
that's what we like. I think, what really drives me, obviously, the clients in my inbox who, we have people change the date of their events to book our DJs. And that's just incredible. A lot of the time, my company will be one of the first people that we contact, and we'll get given a list of dates. We haven't even locked in a venue, but we have to have you there. Right. And that just doesn't apply to me. That applies to all the wonderful DJs on my team. And that's just so amazing to see. That we're able to play such an integral role in someone's special day. And for us, a lot of our DJs will perform at between 100 and 200 events a year. But for the people who book us, this is one of the biggest moments of their life, if not the biggest. So, I think just knowing that we're able to be that puzzle piece in the center of whatever their wedding or their event may mean to them, I think it's just a really important thing.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic, and I like that. It's one of the best guiding North Stars you can possibly have. Otherwise, if you weren't passionate about what you do, and you didn't see the bigger picture in what our particular craft brings to couples' lives, but also to their guests, to the most important people in their life on that day, then just do something else. There's always something for everybody. So no, I can really appreciate that. Dean, we are out of time. Please tell everybody how they can get you or one of your fantastic DJs to really bring their weddings to life.
Yeah, so in terms of seeing more of what we do, I'd say Instagram is probably the best place. My company's Instagram at 2_life_entertainment. I know, catchy. On Instagram to see the whole team. If you want to see a bit more of what I do, and also just my terrible sense of humor translated into Instagram stories, that's at DJ_Lewko, Lewko, on Instagram. In terms of bookings, our website, tolifeent.com.au. Otherwise, it's all over our Instagram. Email, phone, whatever, you can get in touch. You name a social platform, we're probably on there. Just give us a quick search. But would love to be part of your event. Would love to be part of your celebration, and I'm sure we can offer something to you.
Excellent, Dean. Well, thank you so much for being a font of passion and knowledge, and of course for just bringing something really fresh and youthful to this industry and being part of the next generation. I genuinely look forward to working with you again soon, and of course, personally between you and me, seeing you soon in a week's time as of recording. But thank you so much for sharing your insights today.
Too easy. Thanks for having me, Nathan.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Just As Planned Wedding Podcast. Please like and subscribe to let me know that you want more videos just like this one. And of course, please follow us on our socials at Just As Planned Wedding on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube for more expert insights to help your wedding go just as planned.